OCD is not about being clean. You might wonder, how can I say such a thing? I've had it my whole life since I was a little kid, probably around 9 years old. I started to have OCD symptoms. It started out with a lot of repetitive thoughts and worries, and I was also doing tics and things with my rolling my eyes. No one really knew what was going on at the time, but that was the beginning of it. So I've had obsessive compulsive disorder for my whole life. It's much better now than it used to be, so I'm very thankful for that. I do take medicine, but I think in general just getting older and learning how to deal with it has helped a lot. So if you're young and you have OCD, I can pretty much promise you that as you grow up and get to be in your 20s and 30s, that it does get easier. And I think that's true for a lot of people with OCD. So hang in there. So you might hear a lot of people say, oh, I gotta clean this place, I have OCD, or I'm so OCD, I've just gotta keep this clean, I'm so OCD. People like to take the term lightly these days about OCD, but it really is a major problem when you have it, and it really causes a lot of distress. OCD is almost never actually about being clean. There's a lot of more things that are happening underneath and in someone's head than what you see. For example, someone with OCD might feel compelled to clean and organize a room over and over, and you would think, well, they're obsessed with the room being clean. But actually, most of those rituals that people do and those actions are a way of handling thoughts that are very distressing and worrying. So someone who's compulsively cleaning something might actually be thinking about, for example, a loved one dying, something bad happening, and they think if they don't clean this, that something bad will happen. Two things that have nothing to do with each other, but it's sort of these compulsions that you feel, they take on this magical effect where you feel like if you don't do action A, that consequence B will happen. And A and B have nothing to do with each other. So if I don't scrub the bathroom for 5 hours tonight, then something bad might happen to my mom. That was the kind of thinking that I was having when I was younger, and I would do a lot of actions to try to prevent these bad things from happening. So a lot of times when someone's doing something over and over, like cleaning or organizing or any kind of action, putting something down, picking it up, putting it down because it doesn't feel like it's placed down right, and that person might think that object is still in their hand because they didn't put it down right. You know, it's not about getting the object on the table right so much, but that person might think, well, if I don't set this down right, it's still going to be in my hand, and then it's not going to be where it's supposed to be, or I'm going to forget it, or it's going to break. It's this whole thinking that is really has no sense to do with the actions that you're doing. I hope that's a little bit understandable. I'm kind of trying to explain. I'm no doctor. I'm just someone who's had OCD for a long time and wants to try to explain it to others, so people that have it and people that don't have it, so maybe you can understand better. When I was in my teen years, there was a lot of talk about diseases and AIDS, and I used to think that if I touched anything, any object outside of my house, or if anybody bumped into me, that I would get a disease. And so I started washing my hands obsessively. Now, me washing my hands really had nothing to do with me being clean or wanting to be clean. I was trying to wash off the diseases that I thought I would most certainly get if I didn't wash my hands. So say someone touched my foot or tapped my foot with their foot. Say our foots touched while we were walking by each other or something. I would have to run and wash my hands in order to get the diseases off so that I wouldn't get sick. Now this makes no sense, because if someone touches my foot, those germs that weren't even there were not being transmitted to my hands. But in my mind, if I washed my hands, that got rid of all the diseases and would protect me from all the germs. Now, does that make sense? No. But that's how someone with OCD thinks. So a lot of times those actions that you're doing really aren't directly what the person is trying to prevent or stop from doing. So it might seem really ridiculous for someone to, I remember I had this thing about my toothbrush, and it had to be like completely dry before I put it away, or else it would, just be covered in the most horrible germs ever, which I think they have done shows about that, about how much gross stuff does get on your toothbrush. But I would have this obsession that my toothbrush had to be completely dry before I could put it in the little holder, or else something terrible would happen. And it really had nothing to do with the toothbrush. It was just in my mind, if that wasn't done a certain way, then some other unrelated horrible incident would happen. Same with shampoo and conditioner. I went through a phase where I thought if I didn't rinse out every little speck of shampoo from my head, that when I put the conditioner in, it would combine in a chemical combustion and explode. I really thought that. Of course, I was a kid, so it was even worse because I didn't have like my adult sense, and I had a very vivid imagination. So I stopped washing my hair, and that wasn't good. And me not washing my hair had nothing to do with not wanting to wash my hair or not wanting to be clean. It was that I was terrified if I didn't rinse out the shampoo completely, that the conditioner would somehow mix with the shampoo, like mixing bleach with Drano or something. It was like the same thing in my mind, and it would explode on my head, and my head would explode. Now, even as a kid, that wouldn't make much sense. You'd probably laugh about that. But in my mind, it was dead serious, and I was embarrassed to tell anybody, so I just stopped washing my hair. And my brothers were like, "Why does your hair smell so bad?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I was just, embarrassed and ashamed that I was scared to wash my hair. And I knew that people wouldn't understand because it didn't really make sense to me either. So a lot of times when someone is doing rituals or doing something over and over, or won't do something, like won't touch something, won't wash their hair, or doesn't want to use soap, it probably has nothing to do with not wanting to be clean or not wanting to do that thing. It's that they think some terrible thing is going to happen. And so OCD is a lot to do with your mind and your thoughts. And I know for me, I was embarrassed to tell people about these thoughts I was having because I knew they were probably pretty out there and pretty weird and didn't make sense, but somehow they still had a grip on me. So even though these things didn't make sense, they had a grip on me that they were true, and that my brain kept telling me. I would fight it. I said, "But that doesn't make sense." My brain would tell me, "But yes, it will happen, it will happen, it will happen." And it's just a non-stop, and you can't get away from it. You can't do another activity to forget about it. It's constantly there. It's ruining your day. It's ruining your happiness. It's ruining the things that you need to get done during the day, like maybe your homework or your work that you need to do, or getting chores done, or other things done. It's attacking you all the time. That's why OCD is like a silent suffering, because the things people do on the outside with OCD really isn't the most painful part. The most painful part is the thoughts that are going on in your head. Now, I'm not saying that OCD is never about being clean, because I'm only one person, and there's millions of people who have OCD. So there might be people who are cleaning for the sake of things being clean. But I just wanted to say that there's more beyond the surface, that for most times what things that people are doing obsessively, there's more beyond the surface, and it's probably some thoughts in their mind that are making them want to do those things. Or there might be another reason why they're doing those things that have nothing to do with that action. So that's why I wanted to explain that. But I'm not discounting anyone who might feel obsessively too clean that has OCD, because that's very possible, and I'm sure there are people that are suffering from that. So I don't want you to think that I'm saying that all people are not trying to clean to be clean. I'm just trying to explain there might be other reasons why beyond what you see. So I wanted to make this video kind to shed some light on when I hear a lot of people lately, and even on TV, saying, "Oh, I'm so OCD, I'm so OCD, I have to clean this, I have to do this, I'm so OCD." And I just wanted to kind of clear up like what OCD really is and what it's really like. and just to explain that to people, because I think it's taken lightly a lot, and it was so painful for me. It was such a painful thing to go through that I wanted to make a video about it to help other people understand a little better. So if you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments and I'll do my best to answer you. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and if you like this video and want to check out my vlog, you could always subscribe and or click the likey button, or not, it's okay. But thanks for watching. Okay, bye.